Somewhere beyond the comforting glow of our sun, in a realm so distant that light itself takes more than 16 hours to arrive, an aging spacecraft is whispering back secrets that defy every law of physics we thought we understood. Voyager 2, a machine older than most people alive today, has just sent a transmission so strange, so deeply unsettling, that it's forced top scientists to reevaluate the very structure of space itself. And buried within this transmission, there's a signal that doesn't seem natural, a pattern, a pulse, and behind that pulse, something watching. What Voyager 2 just made contact with may not just be an anomaly in space. It might be a message, a presence, or worse, a mechanism designed by something far more advanced than us. But what if this wasn't an accident? What if Voyager 2 was meant to find it all along? Strap in, because what you're about to hear will challenge the core of your understanding about our place in the cosmos. Let's begin. Join us on the enigmatic journey of why, as we delve into another mystery surrounding 1 minute ago. Voyager 2 just made contact with a highly advanced object in deep space. Voyager 2 left Earth in 1977 with a simple mission of exploring our solar system. It was a tool of the Cold War era, filled with analog parts, golden records, and nuclear-powered longevity. For decades, it moved further and further from home, passing Neptune, escaping the sun's heliosphere, and eventually breaking into true interstellar space. But it wasn't until recently that something unexpected happened, something not even its creators could have predicted. Just beyond the heliopause, the invisible bubble where our sun's influence ends, Voyager 2 entered a strange new region. Its instruments began detecting magnetic fields that shouldn't exist, plasma densities that made no sense, and then a rhythmic signal, a repeating pattern buried within its low-frequency data. This wasn't static, it wasn't cosmic noise. It was precise, timed, and consistent, as if it were coming from an intelligent source. The rhythm echoed like a mechanical heartbeat, pulsing through a void we believed to be empty. As the data streamed in, NASA's Deep Space Network flagged something unprecedented. The spacecraft was enveloped in a highly organized magnetic structure, not one that diffused over space as expected, but one that pulsed and curved, forming sharp boundaries and consistent gradients. Scientists initially assumed Voyager 2's instruments had finally failed after 45 years, but every diagnostic check confirmed the data was accurate. What it was detecting was real. Then came the shock. The magnetic field wasn't static, it was changing shape, almost as if it were reacting to Voyager 2's presence. More alarmingly, high-energy particles, the kind that normally travel randomly across deep space, began bending and focusing around the probe, forming what looked like an energetic corridor. Something, somewhere, was either guiding the particles or using them. But to what end? That's when the signal intensified. Plasma, the hot, charged gas that fills most of the universe, usually behaves like an unruly storm, chaotic, unpredictable, and wild. But Voyager 2 encountered something else. The plasma around it was colder, denser, and eerily uniform, as if it were being contained. And within that field, radio waves began to echo. The signals Voyager 2 transmitted back started bouncing with strange distortions, forming harmonic patterns. Analysis revealed that the distortions matched no known natural process. In fact, some of the phase shifts and signal modulations resembled early Earth-based attempts at signal compression. It was as if Voyager 2 had passed into a kind of signal filter, or worse, a receiver. Was it possible that an object or structure, artificial or not, was waiting out there, cloaked in plasma, quietly listening for signals like Voyager's? If so, then it had been listening for 46 years and had just responded. Then came the data anomaly that changed everything. Voyager 2 detected a deep, repeating pulse within the electromagnetic spectrum. It wasn't strong, but it was mathematically perfect, repeating at an interval that didn't align with any known cosmic body, pulsar, or radiation source. More bizarre still, its signal strength grew slightly the moment Voyager 2 crossed into the plasma sheath. It was almost as if the probe had triggered something. Some scientists called it a coincidence. Others weren't so sure. A Nobel laureate in astrophysics even went public, warning that what we were seeing might be evidence of something artificial, or at least non-random. It could be the remnant of a communication beacon, a dormant structure now stirred by Voyager's crossing, or the beginning of something entirely new, a contact not made by humans, but by a machine on behalf of humans. As Voyager 2 continued to transmit, Its instruments detected what can only be described as a gravitational ripple, a localized bend in space-time. Not large enough to be a black hole, but unmistakably real, except there was no mass, no planet, no asteroid, nothing visible. Just a distortion that bent light, plasma, and magnetic fields, as if something was there but wasn't. A hidden presence, a gravitational shadow without a source. This led some physicists to propose the unthinkable. The object Voyager 2 encountered may exist in dimensions slightly offset from our own. It might not even be in space as we define it, but simply intersecting it briefly, like a higher dimensional structure brushing against a two-dimensional plane. In other words, Voyager didn't find an alien ship. It found an intersection point, a breach, a node, a crossing. And just like that, the conversation shifted from astronomy to metaphysics. Then, deep within Voyager 2's memory banks, engineers discovered something even more unnerving. Logs began to appear that had never been recorded, data packets timestamped from years ago, encoded in a format never used by NASA. Telemetry showing constellations Voyager had never passed, even star maps that no longer exist. Had the probe been tampered with? Had its systems been somehow rewritten from a distance? Or worse, had Voyager become a receiver for information it couldn't understand, and was now storing fragments of something else's memory? Some researchers dared to suggest that what we were seeing wasn't a malfunction, but a kind of imprint. Voyager systems had been exposed to a non-human logic structure, and in trying to interpret it, had generated a hybrid data format, something like a translation attempt between two vastly different kinds of intelligence, one carbon-based, the other unknown. Around the same time, an independent observatory in South Africa, monitoring Voyager's trajectory in the microwave band, detected a brief, intense flash in the direction the probe was facing. It lasted only 0.4 seconds, and then disappeared. Optical telescopes saw nothing, infrared, nothing. But the microwave spectrum recorded a blink, like an eye opening and closing. The signal contained an echo of Voyager's own transmission, phase-shifted and reversed, a mirror. But the most chilling part, the energy level of that blink, could not have come from a natural object. It was too fast, too focused, too precise. It was a reply, and just as quickly as it arrived, the signal vanished. Not a continuous conversation, a single intentional pulse, as if to say, "We see you." What followed was nothing short of chaos in the scientific community, a schism. One camp argued it was all misinterpretation, a cascade of instrument decay, misread data, or naturally coincidental cosmic events. The other side didn't speak as loudly because they weren't just worried about what Voyager 2 had found. They were worried about what had found Voyager. Some physicists began proposing models of nonlinear probes, entities that don't move like our machines do, but instead exist at strategic locations in space-time. These probes wouldn't be ships or satellites, but conscious geometry, thought forms encoded in plasma fields, magnetic loops, or even quantum structures. And Voyager 2 may have just activated one. One Nobel physicist said it simply, "This isn't us discovering something, this is something recognizing that we're here." For over 4 decades, Voyager 2 has drifted further from Earth than any human object in history. It was never supposed to survive this long, it was never supposed to feel watched, and it was certainly never supposed to respond to something that we didn't know was even there. But here we are. A pulse, a field, a distortion, a blink. And at the center of it all, not an alien, not a ship, not a signal in the traditional sense, but an intelligence embedded in the fabric of deep space itself. Not built, not sent, just there, waiting. What Voyager 2 encountered may not be technology as we understand it, but something far more evolved. Something ancient and non-local. Something that doesn't communicate with sound or language, but with geometry, with gravity, with magnetism, with the very bones of the universe. And now that we've touched it, it has touched us back. So what does that mean for humanity, for science, for existence? Maybe we were never meant to get this far. Maybe we've just rung a bell that cannot be unrung. Or maybe, just maybe, this was the whole point of the journey all along. Because if Voyager 2 made contact with something advanced out there, it didn't just extend the frontier of space. It crossed the line between observer and participant, and now we're part of the story. Thank you for joining us today on Why. Let us know your opinions in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the video on your screen for more mind-bending content. Keep waiting for another exciting Why adventure, and until then, stay curious and stay tuned. This is Why, signing off.